when you're ready. they're so, this always makes me feel so good to hear those guys. And there's, you know, they feel they have such a sense of accomplishment.
Thank you very much. I know that when Councilmember Grewal joins us, she wants to make a special recognition and presentation to the group that's just joined us. Let me, at this point, ask if some of the council members would like to begin with their presentations. I think Mr. Padilla, are you ready for a presentation? Not yet. Okay, Mr. Labange.
I'm sorry, because I don't have my glasses. How are you?
I'm fine.
You're leaving the treasurer's office, huh?
Office of Finance now.
Office of Finance. I'm going to use my glasses because I don't want to make it.
That's
This
okay.
Office of Treasurer's office? I threw my glasses over on the table there.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I want to pronounce your first name correctly.
Vince, Ben, so you can just say Ben.
Ben
if you want.
Aguilar. How many years have they been?
41.
Golly. Madam President, members of council, we have a very special city employee who's being honored today for over 40 years of service to the city of Los Angeles. Mr. Ben Aguilar, please give him a big hand. Ben began his career in February 8, 1962 as a trainee officer in the Office of Treasurer's Street Bond Division and was promoted many times from clerk to senior clerk and then to senior teller. And he's employed in the Office of Treasurer. He was called to active duty with the United States Naval Reserves for 1 year, 9 months, 24 days, where he was awarded the Vietnam Medal Star, and where Ben again was promoted once returning to City Hall to be the principal teller in Tax and Permit Division here in City Hall at the City Clerk's office, and where he oversaw the parking meter collection unit, introducing numerous efficiencies to the very important fund that raises over $42,000 a day through parking meters throughout the city of Los Angeles. He's assisted in 18 consecutive municipal elections, which is very important to have someone who involves themselves as a city employee who then helps out in our municipal elections in a very wide variety of responsibility. He also was a volunteer floor warden and a member of the Los Angeles Fire Department's Community Emergency Response Team. He and his staff are responsible for properly accounting and depositing more than $2 billion over his career in the Tax and Permit Division, balancing nearly every penny and leading the transactions from paper ledgers to the use of computer spreadsheets. He's assisted innumerable taxpayers with the City of Los Angeles in dealing with some of the problems that they may have arisen, trying to solve them to the benefit of both parties. He served as a member of the Mayor's Bicycle Activity Advisory Committee, as it relates to bicycle licensing, which helps the Bicycle Fund to improve bike services throughout the city of Los Angeles. He has served in his family and community as a Little League coach, a Cub Scout, and a Boy Scout Assistant Scoutmaster, a district commissioner, as well as involved with his high school band booster. He proudly served under mayors Sam Yorty, Tom Bradley, Richard J. Reardon, and now mayors James K. Hahn. Now it's my honor, on behalf of the City Council, to salute Ben Aguilar for his great years of service, for over 41 years of service to the City of Los Angeles. He's joined by his family and his wonderful co-workers, so would you please rise and give a big hand for Ben Aguilar for 41 great service.
Thank you.
Years of service.
Truly appreciate it.
You betcha. Thank you. There we go. "41 years ago, there was no Santa Monica Freeway, and so all the building that has taken place, and you've seen it all happen.
Seen it all.
And right here, and you've done. Please address the City Council right now."
Well, this is truly a first for me, and you can't see it because my knees are truly knocking right now. 41 years was a lifetime, but it passed like this. Boy, it passed fast. I kept busy. I always had good people working with me. And I guess the thing is, the old saying, be happy in your work. And it was a challenge. I think I met the challenge. And I guess I'm sort of reaping my rewards now. I truly appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Ben, just give us one idea, because we got the challenge of tax reform. What's your 3 suggestions how to reform taxes and the business tax in LA?
Do whatever the bosses tell me.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Padilla? Ready? All right, the chair would like to recognize Councilmember Alex Padilla. And we have 9 members. We are awaiting one more. Ms. Gruhl is, I think, on her way down, so we will be able to be officially in session shortly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry for the slight delay here. Members of the council, members of the public, this is not a farewell in terms of retirement, but in some ways this is a farewell in terms of changing responsibilities, and a thank you for many, many years of particular and very personal service to the City Council. And it is a surprise this morning. She doesn't know this, but I want to ask Gail Weingart to join me at the podium. Members, to you, she probably doesn't need an introduction, but there's probably a lot about her that you don't know. We sometimes take it for granted here in council, but I think she deserves the following appropriate introduction. Gail began with the City of Los Angeles in October of 1978 as a law clerk in the Land Use and Environmental Division in the City Attorney's Office. And through the years, through many assignments and many challenges and headaches and many stories, I'm sure you can tell, she was finally appointed in 1992 by then City Attorney Jim Hahn as the City Council City Attorney, and has been serving this body very well ever since. Most people will recognize her from Channel 35, sitting up there with myself and the clerk during council proceedings, but I think it's been all her experiences in those various capacities, not the least of which are land use and environmental issues, but also advising the council in the areas of the Brown Act and keeping us out of trouble, advising the council in the areas of the city charter and its council rules and what used to be known as Prop 5 and is now Section 245 Really, Gail plays a key role in making sure that the council proceedings go effectively, efficiently, by the rules and by the rule of the law, and therefore also keep the city of Los Angeles running as effectively and as efficiently and legally as we have been doing for many, many years. She is now taking on new challenges and new responsibilities in the city attorney's office, and I've heard today is her final official day sitting with us here in council chambers. I do expect her to be back on occasion and probably see her in committees as well. She's been helping me in the Rules Committee, and I know she's lended big support to the Budget and Finance Committee and others. But I want to take this opportunity to present this certificate of appreciation to Gail for all she's done here for the council and for the entire city family. And your mom is watching at home out in the San Fernando Valley.
Hi, Mom.
We're proud of Gail. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Gail, before you begin, let me call on Councilmember Burnson. Hal?
I just want to say that it's been really great sitting next to you all these years, and you've been terrific. I don't know, a lot of people don't really appreciate what she has done for this council and the advice and so forth, but not only that, but she's a terrific person. And we're going to miss you around here, but you're still going to be with the city, and we'll still see you occasionally. But I just want to thank you for all the help you've given me personally and this council and the city through the years. Good luck.
Thank you. Councilmember Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Since '91, I've had the opportunity to watch your work, either from behind the pillar, behind the rope, or behind a council member. And I've always admired how you've been able to negotiate some high-energy discussions, to be diplomatic, and how the spotlight is really beaming on you for a decision on that moment. And you've been able to rise to the occasion. And we're going to miss that. But just as important is the time you would take when one of us is sick and you'd come up and say, well, did you drink or did you have your chicken soup? That's just as important. So as an individual, as a person, but more importantly as a civil servant, you've been exemplary. I'll miss you both on a professional level, on a personal level, and wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Councilmember Zine.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. Gail, I know when you had car problems, we helped you out. When we have legal problems, you always help us out. And you've been there at the helm, guiding us in the legal arena through the open session, through the executive session, through the frustrating sessions. You've always been there with your smile, with your knowledge, with your legal background, and I sincerely appreciate it. I know you've got many more years with the City of Los Angeles and many more challenges with the City Attorney's Office, and I wish you well. You've been a friendly, smiling, very good person to me, and I do appreciate that, and wish you very, very well, and happy trails ahead, as they say.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Madam President and colleagues, is your mom watching, Gail? Say hi,
I dare
Mom.
say she probably is. Hi, Mother.
I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate all you've done for us here. And I know there have been times when we've bumped heads and challenged each other on our interpretation of what we're doing. Jan's saying there's a surprise, right? But I have always appreciated the fact that you've guided us in the right direction and made sure that we did our work well and we did everything by the book. So thank you so much for all your support and help here in the council.
Thank you. Let me recognize Councilmember Perry.
Gail, I just wanted to say you're a great lawyer and an even greater person, and I've just really had a real pleasure knowing you all these years and, you know, sharing in some of the joys in both your professional and your personal life. But of course, the most memorable was meeting your mother.
Councilmember LaBonge.
To talk about your mother too, because of the time I had a chance to spend. So it's wonderful that all the council members. Say hi to your mom again, because there's nothing like you, you know.
Hello, Mother.
Oh, good. All right, good.
She's been waiting a long time for me to be able to say that.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's wonderful. But it's so special what you've done, and being able to be in the role here as the city attorney for the City Council of Los Angeles, California, the second largest city in the United States, and the tremendous role that you've played sitting right there and trying to be a referee in some sense of as we try to deliberate the people's business. And the job that you have is a tremendous one, and now that you're passing the baton to someone else, you'll have another role to fulfill with the city attorney's office, which is going to be special. Maybe not as special as the lights and cameras and action of the city council, but I'm sure it will be exciting because it's the Los Angeles Fire Department. So you picked the right color of jacket to wear, not only the holiday, but for the fire department. But Gail, I thank you very much, and say hi to your mom again. You can't never do it again. Say it again.
Hello, Mother.
All right, good job.
Councilmember Holden.
Bye, Gail.
We never bumped heads.
We never bumped heads. You know, it just says that, no, you can't introduce this special motion. You had more notice than, it's not special, it's not an emergency. You always say that, what are the findings? You always challenge me before my colleagues would. And then I had to explain it to you. But what I was really trying to do is give you more TV time so your mother could see you. Gail, we're going to miss you. It's always been a lot of fun, even though one lawyer don't always agree with another.
It's true.
And they always say I'm a $35 lawyer and you just top the line. But you're wonderful to work with. You're leaving at a time when I got 6 months left, but come back and say goodbye.
I will do that.
Good wishes.
Thank you, Nate. Gail, before I turn this back over to you, I've been given a message from Channel 35 that your friends there also say goodbye and wish you good luck because you've helped them help run these council sessions. And I just take special note that in the chamber today we have a larger number of city attorneys present than usual, and I don't think it's because of the items on the agenda. I think it's because they were in on the surprise. So they are here to wish you well in your next assignment, and I think your work with the fire department, the fire commission, is going to bring you back in front of us as often as possible. And I want to especially thank you not only for the work you've done here, but for the years that I knew you before you became the city council city attorney in the area of planning and land use, and I think that's where Mr. Bernstein and Mr. Reyes also got that experience. Your expertise, your helping us get through the intricacy of those kinds of technicalities has been immeasurable. So we look forward to seeing you again at the fire department, but now it is your turn.
Definitely. Well, I'm usually not so much at a loss for words, but I do want to say this is not a job that you can do in a vacuum. There are a lot of people who help me and a lot of people to thank. First and foremost are the attorneys in my office, starting with Pete Echeverria, who has always been available to me, even in our off-sites when I call up and say, I need a code section or I need an answer, he's been there. And all of the attorneys that I call over and say, what's happening with this, or please come over, and they come over and sometimes they sit for a long time before we get to their item. And I'm very flattered that so many people are here today. But the city clerk's office, Mike Carey, Frank Martinez, Helen Ginsberg, Maria Conrad, all of the vote clerks, everybody that I've worked with, the CLA's office, the members over there who make sure that I get all the motions, even when they're not sitting on my desk, they bring them up. And Sharon and Jerry and Ron Deaton and the CAO's office, everybody in this, in council chambers is part of what goes on to me working there. And while the council members sometimes, as to paraphrase Betty Davis, it's been a bumpy ride and we've had to put our seatbelts on, we always seem to get where we need to get. And I want to thank you all very much for this. And I want to thank Jim Hahn for appointing me when he did as the first woman to sit full-time in council. It was a very big honor and a big challenge, and I'm sorry to leave you, but I'm leaving you in good hands, and I will see you, I will be back, so thank you very much.
All right, Gail, we have one more person who did want to say something. Wendy got here just in time, so let me recognize Councilmember Gruhl.
Thank you, and I will be brief. But Gail, I have known for many, many years when I worked in City Hall before, and I didn't realize that you were the first woman to sit there, and that's really quite an accomplishment. And you have been our eyes and ears. You debate us when we challenge you, which is a good thing, but you really have helped guide us in good public policy, and I just wanted to add my congratulations and thanks for all that you've done here in City Council. And we know you're only a phone call away when we have any problems or issues, and know that you're going to still be part of the city family and part of this horseshoe always. So thank you so much, Gail. And Gail's mother is one of my constituents, so I will always hear from Gail and her mother, I believe. So anyways, thank you so much, Gail.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have been joined by a representative of your old boss, Jim Hahn, his chief of staff in the mayor's office, Tim McCosker.
Hey, Gail. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Thanks very much for having me in here. On behalf of the mayor, I want to say, because we're on TV, hi to Gail's mom. The mayor will see you at Gelson's at the coffee shop. But it's been a pleasure for all of you, and certainly for us, to work with Gail over the years. And we want to thank her very much for her service to the council and service to the city. And we want to just wish you well and let you know that we appreciate everything you'll do for us in your new position. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Gail, let me tell you that, in fact, this was official because I do think we have a quorum, so let me ask the clerk to call the roll.
Brinson, Galante, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Holden, Labange, Mizikowski, Pacheco, Perry, Reyes, Weisstein, Padilla, 11 members present, a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. The council is in session. Mr. Zine, I understand you're ready for a presentation? Then the chair would like to recognize Mr. Councilmember Zine.
People are gasping at the number of certificates I have here. There's a whole bunch of certificates here. So what time is it? We'll be done in about 4 hours with these. No, in all seriousness, I have 2 presentations to make and a number of certificates included in the 2 presentations. I first want to call up Chuck Richmond, who is one of our fine city employees and a man who did some wonderful things for us on the commemoration of September 11th. A little bit about Chuck. One of the best parts about being a member of the City Council is being able to recognize individuals for outstanding work. And Chuck Richmond of the Los Angeles City Department of Recs and Parks is just that type of person. During the planning of the LA Remembers September 11th, we in the 3rd District were looking for a way to memorialize the public safety personnel on the East Coast who gave their lives for others. Brian Perry of my staff came up with an idea to place a flagpole at the stage at the Warner Center Park. We were put in touch with Chuck to help us out, and he and his team immediately went to work. Knowing we had little to no money to spend, Chuck found us the flagpole we needed, had it delivered and installed at the park in time for the ceremonies of September 11th. And this is the kind of work that has marked Chuck Richmond's career with the City of Los Angeles and the Department of Recs and Parks for the past 18 years. A former general contractor in the San Fernando Valley, Chuck started as a carpenter with the City of Los Angeles. Within 5 years, he was promoted to senior carpenter, then carpenter supervisor, and the position he has held for 13 years, construction and maintenance supervisor too. After working at Pacific Region for 11 years, Chuck was reassigned to the Valley Region, and we are so pleased to have him with us. Honoring good work is even better when I can do it to one of my constituents. And Chuck and his wife live in the 3rd District in the West San Fernando Valley. Chuck can do attitude, has guided his career, and is a true asset to the City of Los Angeles. Chuck, on behalf of the commemoration of Warner Center Park with that flagpole that did not exist. We had many events at Warner Center Park, many events at that stage, and what was lacking was the American flag. And through your efforts and ingenuity, we were able to have that placed at the Warner Center Park adjacent to the stage. So I have for you one of these city seals, which I remember in my many years, I said, I want to get one of those one day. And here you go, honoring Truck Richmond with sincere thanks and appreciation for your outstanding contribution to the first anniversary observance. LA remembers 9/11 Warner Ranch Park, presented by your council member. And I noticed you're wearing the 9/11 pin that was distributed by the Los Angeles police officers. So I'm going to give you the microphone. We'll do a little photo here. If you guys will get your cameras ready. A couple of Valley boys. And there you go, for some comments from you. You get to talk. You get to talk.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I represent a group of dedicated city employees with the Department of Recreation and Parks, construction craft forces in the Valley region. We were emotional about this and proud to achieve the councilman's objective, and I thank you.
Thank you. You can put it back in here. We're going to do some photos in the back. So I'm going to sit right over here. Tom LaBonge is now trying to get one for his district. All right, Tom. And I have one more presentation, Madam Chair, and if I can have the Canoga Park High School band join me. The whole band, come on up. Where's the doctor?
How you doing?
Good to see you again. We have with us this morning the Canoga Park High School Hunter Band, and it's led by Dr. Richard Kravchak. Kravchak. See? Thank you. That was right?
That was.
I practiced that. Award-winning teacher, Dr. Richard has received scores of accolades, including being named Teacher of the Year by the Los Angeles County Office of Education. During his first 5 years as a director at the Canoga Park High School Band, the doctor took the music department from 25 students to more than 250 students. It was through his passion, dedication, and leadership that the musicians who make up the outstanding Canoga Park High School Hunter Band went to victory as the 2002-2003 All-City Band and Drill Team champions. Let's hear it for them for that. Great accomplishment. Last September 11th, these young men and women, along with the doctor, were a key part of our LA Remembers ceremonies at Warner Ranch Park. Each member was at school in uniform that day at 6:30 in the morning for the bus ride to the ceremony site at Warner Center Park. Once there, they played a series of musical selections which set the spirit for that somber yet hopeful occasion. The band is living proof of the value of the arts in our schools. And under the leadership of Dr. Kravchak and the assistance of the music and drill department boosters, work has begun to create the Canoga Park High School Academy of Music, which will help to direct students to an even higher achievement in music and academics. I have certificates for each of the band members. We're going to present those in back when we do photographs. And now I want to turn the microphone over to the band leader, the man who made it all happen, who took from 25 to 250, Dr. Richard Kravchak, for his work, and he's going to be accepting this on behalf of all the students and what he does at Canoga Park High. And Doctor, the microphone is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Councilman Zine for recognizing the achievements of my students here. We have a lot of different students at Canoga Park, some of whom would be considered to be at-risk students, and I think programs such as ours are so important in keeping our students focused in a positive way and off the streets and contributing to their community. So I want to thank you very much, and we have some musical selections for you also.
And now we're going to hear from the Canoga Park High School Band. Doctor, this is for you, and we will have presentations in the back for the band members. Again, thank you very much for what you do for LA Unified, what you do for the community. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
Councilmember Zine, Canoga Park High School, and your band director, just a second, please, if you could just, I wanted to thank Councilmember Zine for bringing this band in. You know, years ago, I went to a community meeting, and they were all upset about what was going on in the neighborhood, and I told them there was a new gang in the neighborhood, and it was the high school marching band got reorganized, and they were working together, and everybody got behind it and charged. And I just think high school bands are one of the greatest part of your young people right here who are participating. All your friends are in class wishing they were down here now. See what it gets? You come out here for the band. But I also want to salute Canoga Park High School, Ed Reyes, because this is the band of the Los Angeles River, because the Los Angeles River starts right there at Canoga Park High at the Bell at Calabasas Creek, and I have an idea for our committee that we should have a band contest on the 6th Street Bridge of all the great high schools along the river and see who could be the champion band for the LA River too. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. For our next presentation, the chair recognizes Councilmember Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had earlier a performance by ARC, Activities for Retarded Children, who performed some holiday songs for us. And they have one more song that they're going to provide for our pleasure this morning. And I just want to thank all of the participants and the leadership of ARC who have blessed this building so many times with their performance. So I would like to, with no further ado, if they are hearing me in the back, we're ready for you when you are. Thank you so very much. And not only do they play the bells, but they were with us a few weeks ago out there painting out graffiti in our neighborhood. So appreciate all the good work that you do, and happy holidays. Thank you for sharing with us today. I have one more presentation. Ruth Schwartz from Shelter Partnership is right here. Many of you are familiar with Ruth Schwartz and Shelter Partnership. I had the pleasure of meeting Ruth more than 10 years ago when I worked for the city, and my favorite story about that is Ruth was I think she was a one-person show starting this organization, and she came to meet me in my office. And I was brand new to the city. I was about 23 years old. And Ruth looked at me and said, "Are you old enough to have this job?" And I reminded her that she was there to ask me for something. And Even though I was young, she should give me some respect. She learned from that. But anyway, Shelter Partnership has been an incredible organization in the city of Los Angeles and serving the county of Los Angeles. We are here to honor them for their excellent work. Those of you that know them know that they serve a variety of public agencies, the business community, local and national media involved in the issue of homelessness. When you're talking about homelessness and you read statistics in the paper or you read reports, normally it's been Shelter Partnership who's gathered that information to make sure that as we determine our priorities for housing, whether it be permanent or transitional or shelter, we have had the help and encouragement and guidance from Shelter Partnership. In particular, we're here to celebrate that last month Shelter Partnership hit the $100 million mark in product donations for the Resource Bank. $100 million, which is really incredible. It was, we weren't sure at the beginning whether the Resource Bank was going to hit 10 million. And since then, if you have not been out to their facility in Bell, it is a wonder. And so many nonprofit organizations benefit from Shelter Partnership's relationships with many organizations who have products that either have been discontinued, have minor problems with them, and they're distributed to homeless families and low-income families all across this county. None of this could have been done without Ruth Schwartz. Her tenacity, her persistence, and sometimes even her patience in making sure that we did the right thing. So I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate Shelter Partnership, and particularly Ruth Schwartz, for all that they have done since their establishment in the Resource Bank in 1989. They are an incredible, no pun intended, resource for Los Angeles and for our homeless and low-income families, and particularly during the holiday season when they give away anything from toilet paper for some of our shelters to clothes and toys and some of the toothpaste and toothbrushes and combs, really the meat and potatoes of what our families need to live in the city and county of Los Angeles. So I'd like to take this opportunity, and the rest of my colleagues have signed this, to say thank you to Ruth Schwartz and Shelter Partnership for their ongoing efforts and for their next $100 million they're going to get in donations in Los Angeles. Thank you, Ruth.
Ms. Perry?
I just want to thank the council so very much for this honor. It's wonderful. I'm really just so proud to be a Los Angelino. I went to school here. This is my community. I think it's the greatest city in the world, and it's wonderful working with the council. It's a great council, great mayor, and all your city departments. You really have been a partner to us in these efforts since we started the project in our now 80,000 square foot warehouse in the city of Bell, where we're last year able to serve 230 agencies who serve the homeless and the very poor, including New Economics for Women, who's here today, for something else. So we're just happy to serve, and we're just happy. We feel like we're part of the city family, whether it's your city attorney's office, your police department, the housing department, community development department, all the departments we work closely with, and we think you have a wonderful staff, and we're just happy to be part of your family. Thank you very much. It's a great work. We'll display this when you walk in our office. So we do hope you'll come visit the project sometime if you or your staff haven't been there. Thank you very much for this honor.
You have a great partner in the city, but you have a very special friend in Ms. Perry. She wants to say a few words.
Okay, thank you.
Ruth, I just wanted to say, not only do other organizations benefit from you, I think we do too. And I just want to say that Ruth is a fearless, very candid, very outspoken, very direct, and without personal agenda, but definitely with a full portfolio. All she wants to do is make a better life for people who haven't had that chance. And I just want to say I personally appreciate her, which is why I asked her to be on the mayor's homeless task force and to be able to give her very real views on what we can do to solve this issue. And she tells it like it is.
Thank you, council member. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Okay.
I believe this concludes the presentation segment of today's agenda. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Misikowski moves and Mr. Holden seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Labange moves and Mr. Reyes seconds.
Before beginning the regular agenda, Mr. President, there's a request from Councilmember Hahn to continue item number 19 to February 21st, 2003.
Members request to continue item number 19. Is there any objection to that? Seeing none, item 19 is continued.
Also on the regular agenda, there is a confirmation of Ms. Laura Trejo to the Department of Aging, and there is an Arts, Health, and Humanities Committee report and communication from the EERC with a salary recommendation.
Okay, if Ms. Trejo can come forward at this time. Members, as the clerk has advised, we do have committee reports recommending approval before us for consideration. Public hearing has been held on this matter. Are there members of the council wishing to be heard on the appointment of Ms. Trejo? Members wishing to be heard at this time, Mr. Labange.
I just want to welcome you to the city family and thank you. We had a chance to visit prior to the start of council, and your resume is most impressive as far, in addition to your writing, which was so good. And it's lovely to have your mother here, which is so great to see us a wonderful day for her daughter. And I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions on the issue here, because what we all like to do is try to make life as warm as possible in the sense of people being involved. In my area, I have a lot of seniors in the Wilshire area, some parts of North Hollywood. And what are some of your ideas to bring people out so we could serve them and have them enjoy an experience?
Thank you very much for having me here.
You can speak right to the mic and speak right to the
And I appreciate your question. It's very important, I think, for the Department of Aging in its service sites throughout the city of Los Angeles to really look for opportunities to invite older adults to come out and to participate. I believe that our multipurpose senior centers and other providers in the community present opportunities not only for socialization, but for services and also for family caregivers to get information. My hope is to be able to develop activities with those sites and with those providers that really engage the community in a new way. Part of the challenge is really to communicate with families and with older persons themselves. I think the media can be very helpful, as well as the existing service network. We have many physicians in Los Angeles County. Older people go to banks in different locations where I think we can be very successful at making contact with older persons and bringing them out and making them aware of the array of services that we have available in the city for them.
What is the largest growing population group? What is the largest growing population group?
Well, the demographics of aging are very interesting. When you look at the overall older adult population, the largest challenges are among ethnic minority populations. All the ethnic minority groups are seeing its most dramatic shift in the older adult population. So for example, the needs of Asian Pacific Islander groups, African Americans, Latinos are very, very much something that we need to strategically begin to prepare for, because many of our providers do not have the skills or the language or the cultural knowledge to make their services accessible to those groups. So I think that that's an area that we're going to have to really be paying close attention and put forth a great deal of effort to be prepared for the coming of those particular populations.
Well, thank you very much and congratulations. Look forward to your confirmation. Look forward to working with you. I know all of us have a deputy who sometimes specializes in the area of aging and outreach to seniors. So we look forward to working with you and your fine staff that you have. And it's a very important job that you have for the city of Los Angeles to be out there, to be advocating, and to be banging on the door to say that we have to do more for seniors, because those are the ones who've done the most for us. As we spoke about Gail and her mother earlier, and then that's a simple thing to say, we got to take care of those who've taken care of us. God bless the seniors. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity also to acknowledge Rushmore Cervantes, who's been serving as the acting general manager. He's been doing double duty for over 9 months as both acting general manager and acting assistant general manager. So I just want to thank him publicly for the great work he's been doing.
Thank you. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Just briefly, I want to applaud the mayor for giving us the opportunity to work and have top management begin to reflect the composition of the city. And just as important, I just learned that your roots are from El Salvador.
Yes, they are.
So your mom must be muy orgullosa de su hija en todo lo que ha cumplido. So felicidades por eso. But I just want to say that as the state budget cuts continue, we need to be more creative in how we deal with these issues. I know we're touching the tip of the iceberg. I think as of yesterday, it's about 35 billion now. So again, look forward to working with you. And we should be much more creative in how we engage our communities of various languages, ethnicities, and cultures. So looking forward to working with you.
I am too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let me take this moment before we actually open the roll to congratulate you on what we anticipate is a confirmation today and point special attention to what I mentioned to you prior to the meeting, which is in EERC, some members were wondering if you would be the first Latina general manager in the city, and there was a little bit of debate, but I think at least we know it's been a long, long time. So I want to congratulate you as we try to make not only city employees in general, but certainly management and executives more reflective of the city of Los Angeles, not just to have a person of color, a Latino, but a woman, a Latina and a woman of color reflective in the top levels of management in the city of Los Angeles makes a lot of us proud, and we're here to help you do well. Madam Clerk, would you please open the roll? Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Forthwith on this item, and members, as we've been doing all week, this being the last week of the calendar year, all matters approved by the City Council today shall go forthwith. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 36 is confirmation of Madeline Janice Aparicio to for the reappointment to the Community Redevelopment Agency, and that matter was waived by the Economic Development and Employment Committee.
Okay, is Ms. Janice Aparicio with us? If she is, let's have her come forward at this time. Members were required to have public hearing on this item, so let me acknowledge that we have not received requests from members of the public to address the council on this item here in council, therefore satisfying our public hearing. Are there members wishing to be heard on this item?
She's not coming.
Members wishing to be heard on item 36? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Ms. Madeline Janice Aparicio is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 1 is matter, it's a public hearing matter, and council should open the public hearing and continue the hearing until January 10th for Prop 218 ballot results.
Okay, members, item 1 now before us, and I have not received cards from members of the public wishing to address the council on this item. So we shall open the public hearing and continue this matter for 3 weeks to January 10th. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, also no public hearing items. Items 2 and 3 are acquisition of real properties, and those are ordinances, and I believe there are only 11 members present. Do you wish to hold these 2 on the desk for 12 council members?
I don't believe we anticipate 12 members being present at any time today. So let's vote on ordinances, and if we do achieve 12 members present at one time, we can reconsider ordinances at that time. But otherwise, let's proceed with business. Items 2 and 3 now before us, members. I do have cards on item number 3. We'll call that special. Any members wishing to call item number 2 special? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on item number 2. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved.
And the ordinance on that will go over to January 7th.
Madam Clerk, I apologize. On the card we have on item 3 is for the special meeting agenda. So let's take item 3 of the regular meeting agenda at this time. Seeing no request from members of the public to address the council, public hearing is satisfied. And unless there's a member of the council wishing to call this matter special, I don't see any. Madam Clerk, please open the roll on item 3 of the special agenda. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next items, please.
Next item, Mr. President, items for which public hearings have not been held, items 4 through 35, with the exception of 5 that has already been acted upon.
Members, these items have had public hearings. Motions from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearing. Seeing no such motion, let us proceed to call matter special. Mr. Labange calls item 20 special.
Mr. President, item 31 for just a technical amendment.
Item 31 called special by Ms. Misikowski. Let me also announce Item 20, although agendized as having held a public hearing, we've been advised that we shall, City Attorney is recommending that we also conduct a brief public hearing here in the council, so we'll do that if there are cards. Members, any other specials?
25.
25, call special by Mr. Pacheco. Mr. Holden? Mr. Holden calls item number 4 special. Any other specials? Seeing none, I have item 4 called special, item 20 called special, items 25 and 31 called special, item 19 has been continued, and item number 5 has been acted upon.
And, Mr. President, excuse me, but item number 17 has 2 reports on the file, and a motion is required on that to adopt one of the reports.
Is there a motion from the floor on item number 17? If not, then let's call that matter special. On the balance of the items, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
Next items, Mr. President, items for which public hearings have not been held, items 37 through 61.
37 through 61 now before us, and I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. We shall deem the public hearing satisfied. Members, are there any specials? Any specials? Items 37 through 61. Ms. Gruhl?
Number 50, please. Item 50.
Item 50, call special by Ms. Gruhl.
Item 63 for a date change.
63? Okay, we're not there yet, but we will call that special at the appropriate time. Members, items 36 through 61. Any other specials? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those matters are approved. Item 37, being an ordinance, carries over for a second reading. Next items, please.
On the continuation agenda, item number 62 is an item for which is an item notice for public hearing.
Item 62 now before us, and seeing no requests from members of the public to address the council on this item, we shall deem the public hearing satisfied. Members wishing to call this matter special. Mr. Reyes?
Council President, 62A special for technical amendment.
62A is called special by Mr. Reyes.
Mr. President, instead of 63, I meant to be 64. So
Okay.
63 can go forward, 64 should be called special.
Okay, we're almost there. Item 62. Any other requests on item number 62? Seeing none, let's hold 62A as a special item for consideration in today's meeting and on the balance of item 62. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Excuse me, Mr. President, I believe 62A is an amending motion to that, and that's the only item on that.
Let's call the entire matter special then.
The next items would be items for which public hearings have not been held, 63 and 64, and I believe
Ms.
Councilmember
Miskowski wishes to call item 64 special. Any members wishing to call item 63 special? Mr. Holden? Mr. Holden calls item 63 special. So both items 63 and 64 are called special.
Okay, going back then to the items called special on the regular agenda.
Well, before taking the matters called special, let's go to the special meeting and dispense with consent items. Madam Clerk, let's temporarily recess the regular meeting agenda, and would you please call the roll on the special meeting?
Brinson, Galanter, Garcetti, Gruel, Han, Holden, Labange, Miskowski, Pacheco, Perry, Reyes, Weisstein, Padilla, 11 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The special meeting is now in session. Madam Clerk, first item, please.
The first item, Mr. President, is an item for which public hearing has been held. That's the Budget and Finance Committee report.
Okay, members wishing to call item number 1 special? Seeing none, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next items, please.
Items 2 through 6 are items for which public hearings have not been held, and I believe there is a card on item number 3 of the special
We
meeting.
do have a speaker card on item number 3. Let's call that matter special on the balance of the items. Seeing no requests from members of the public to address the council, public hearings are satisfied. Members wishing to call any specials, items 2, 4, 5, or 6 on the special meeting agenda. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Item number 7 of the special meeting agenda is a closed session item. Let's hold this item on the desk. Let us then recess the special meeting and return to the regular meeting agenda and to matters called special. members of the council, we have a special guest and friend of the City of Los Angeles with us in chambers, escorted by Councilmember Tom LaBonge. Members of the public, please welcome former Governor of the State of California and the Mayor of the City of Oakland, the Honorable Jerry Brown. He has various items of business with the City of Los Angeles today, but Mr. LaBonge, you have an item that he's here on. Shall we take this matter out of order?
Well, thank you. I would appreciate that, and I appreciate the governor and his chief coming down, and also we have Representative Chief Bratton here today, Mike Downey, the commander of Hollywood area. As you know, members, we've discussed this issue that's plagued neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles, whether it's Sepulveda Boulevard in the San Fernando Valley, whether it's Figueroa Street in central part of Los Angeles, Washington Boulevard, Century Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard. And off those great boulevards are tremendous neighborhoods. In those tremendous neighborhoods, unfortunately, people come in and they commit acts of prostitution, they commit acts of disrespect for neighborhood, and they trash and debris, unfortunate fights between people, and a calamity that really hurts the quality of life in those areas. And our great city attorneys have worked very diligently to map an ordinance for us that we're going to present today. But I would like to call on, though, Mayor Brown, who is a great friend, and his great sister, Kathleen Brown, who was the first person in Los Angeles to talk about overcrowded schools at Union Avenue School years ago. I love your sister for what she did for Los Angeles as a board member in the education and also here at our Department of Public Works. But Mayor Jerry Brown, if you could please join us. And also we have your Chief Ward from the Oakland Police Department, who some of your staff was just down here last week at a training at LAPD. If you could join the center table, Captain Downey, and also our city attorney, if we could have a representative. Asha Greenberg, our city attorney. Michael, I got a chair for you right there. And first, before we have the mayor speak, I would like to ask the city attorney to open up just a little comment on what we have before us, and we thank Rocky Delgadillo and his staff for this.
Thank you, Councilmember LaBonge. Last week, we presented an ordinance for abatement of vehicles used to solicit prostitution. The ordinance is modeled after Oakland's ordinance, and we're grateful to Oakland for being a pioneer in this area and sort of blazing the trail for us to follow. The ordinance is presented to you for a second reading. I just want to thank the Neighborhood Prosecutor Program and LAPD for helping us in drafting this ordinance as well. I'm available to answer questions.
Okay, and also, I think as the city attorney spoke, you talked about the city of Oakland, and one great thing about cities is we're able to learn from each other, and Mayor Brown and his city has developed an ordinance that has been tried and tested and been effective, and I'd like to call on Mayor Brown to give us a little report on this tool, and also your chief, if you could comment, and again, welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, and it's a real pleasure to come here to this august hall. My fondest memory was when I got to listen to the first election returns back in 1969 when I was elected to the Los Angeles Community College Board. And since I came in first out of 124 candidates, it was a very exciting moment, even more so than being elected governor. That's my first win. They're always good. Anyway, I want to talk about what we call beat feet. This is our colloquial description for our vehicle forfeiture law. We call it beat feet because when we seize the automobile, the suspect has to beat it on his feet. He's going to walk out. He drives in and walks out. So we really get him acquainted with good physical exercise as well as grabbing the vehicle. And what it does, of course, is send a very dramatic message to the neighbors and the prostitutes and the pimps that this is unacceptable. This is not a victimless crime in any sense of the word because it deteriorates the neighborhood and it invites other kinds of crime. And what we find in Oakland is that underage girls are being exploited by these men who then cynically abuse them and use them for their own profit. And so we have found runaway 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and picked them up through this vehicle seizure program. We've seized hundreds of vehicles. Some is by the way, when they're seized, then we are willing to let them buy them back. And so there's a process of negotiation. One vehicle, we let them take it back for $13,000. Some vehicles we just seize and sell. But the amazing thing is, not one person whose vehicle was taken has ever won in court and proved the city wrong. So we don't have, people say, well, this is unfair, the ACLU says this is taking a property without due process. Not true, because somebody would have won by now. They never have. They've always been, they've lost. If they went to appeal, the city won. And if the city finds out something's wrong, then of course you have the opportunity to give the person redress. The reason that doesn't happen, and the chief can explain it in detail, is we have video cameras, we have recording devices, and so we make airtight cases, or we don't seize the vehicle. So it's dramatic, it is a powerful tool, and it's one that's worked in Oakland. It has its critics. In fact, the Senate attempted to put in a provision that was passed by the Assembly and put on the governor's desk to make this procedure unlawful. But Governor Davis vetoed the bill, and that's because I believe he does not want to be to the left of me on law and order. So I knew he was going to, when I wrote him and said this would unleash a wave of crime on the city of Oakland, he vetoed the bill despite strong majorities in both houses. This is reasonable. It's a good way to go, and I strongly recommend that you not only pass it, but that your police chief utilize this tool very effectively.
Mayor, thank you, and I'd like to ask you to introduce your chief of police.
Yeah, this is Richard Word, the police chief for the city of Oakland. He's an up-from-the-ranks officer who came from right from patrol right up to the top position in our city. Richard?
Good morning. Certainly my pleasure to be here to address the members of the LA City Council. I'd just like to say these are, at an operational level, we utilize about 8 to 12 officers per operation. Our undercover officers, we have others that watch them, provide cover to them, and then we have arrest team officers. And then we also have on site our deputy city attorney, our local district attorney, and some other staff. So roughly about 20 to maybe 22 people per operation. We've seized as many as 40 vehicles in one evening from one location. Neighbors and neighborhood residents, that they love this. They're actually empowered, I think, by the presence to see their streets cleaned of the blight of this nuisance activity. And it tends to promote a greater community organization and awareness. And they're invigorated by this activity, and so it does inspire them. I think it's a good benefit. The officers like to do it. It helps us to tackle crime, not just targeting sellers or prostitutes themselves, but customers. It really helps to close these markets, these street-level markets, which are truly nuisances to many of our communities, as LA has experienced.
Because we do it also for selling drugs.
Yes.
So we have both types of offenses. Anybody have any questions that you might like to direct to the chief or myself?
Yeah, we're going to direct them in just a second, Mayor. Let me just ask that the commander of Hollywood area, the representative for Chief Bratton, Mike Downey, who is here, who's been worked closely, and Michael, also I want to have you, as you conclude your remarks, recognize the people from Hollywood who are here fighting for their neighborhood. Michael.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President, fellow council members, and the community members that have come and supported us, many of which I see on our prostitution subcommittee. Barbara, and thank you very much for coming here. I know that this has been a long-time chronic complaint for you, and Mayor Brown and Chief Ward, thank you very much for coming and supporting us in this endeavor. You know, we can go out and arrest thousands and thousands of prostitutes, pimps, and panders, as we have done year to date, almost 2,000. But this law will align our strategy with prevention, deterrence, and education. And the victims are the community, the young women and children who've been exploited, and also the spirit of the community that we're really trying to build in this city. And this is a great tool to dry up the market for this type of activity. And the message is, don't come to LA to look for a prostitute, a pimp, a pander. We will not tolerate it. You have to come and respect this city. Thank you.
And don't come to Oakland either. We've got to thank Oakland for that. We don't want to have that. Members, I think that explains what's before us, and I greatly appreciate your support because I know some of you have this challenge in your districts as well. And so I want to thank you, and also it does send a message. It's going to send a message to the Johns, because all too often when we try to battle prostitutions, we pick on the women and the prostitutes. We should send a message to the Johns to effectively have them respect neighborhoods, respect themselves truly, and respect people, which is the ultimate goal here. So I just want to thank you. And Mr. President, I appreciate all your efforts in this and arranging for this to happen. I also wanted to thank Ms. Greenberg again, our city attorney, and Ms. I want to say it, Bill Consuela, who's I said that wrong, Billy. I'm sorry there. I appreciate it. Bill Consuela, neighborhood prosecutor, stand up on there. Sergeant Hamilton, who did all this research for that there. And Sue Franz, thank you very much. Sue, give Sue a big hand because she's working real hard to other issues that street racing and other issues that affected it. It's a team effort here, and we certainly thank the team that we created with the City of Oakland to challenge this effort to improve the quality of life for all Angelenos. I thank you, Mr. President. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Actually, before proceeding to the next member of the council, we do have one speaker card submitted on this item. Let us hear briefly from Hollywood's own Melrose Larry Green.
Good morning, everybody. What a thrill to meet Jerry Brown. My name is Larry Green. You don't know me, but I know you. And you're a wonderful guy, a compassionate guy, and I hope you will run for president next year. I'm a Republican, but I'll vote for you for president. I'm not kidding. What better background? A former governor of California and a mayor of a troubled city, and this is a wonderful thing. Now, I live in Hollywood, and I recognize a lot of friends here, and governor, mayor, whatever you want to be called. We've got a great councilman in Tom Labange, and I support this ordinance. Seize the cars, and let's go one step further. Let's seize the gang members' cars also. I'm not kidding. Run for president. I will vote for you. Thank you.
That's swaying some votes in the council here.
Give Melrose Larry a little hand for that effort there. I mean, he comes down here often there. Thank you, Larry. Barbara Ike, I just wanted to recognize Barbara. Marilyn Wald, Barbara Witten, and also Melrose, you got already credit. Jacqueline Kerr, would you please rise again? Look at these citizen activists who are here. Norma Foster, I see you there, who've been fighting for their neighborhoods. And I think that's the wonderful thing about this process. They fought hard. They came up with an idea along with everybody. And also Virginia Sharon, who wrote in a 1977 LA Times article about the problems of crime in Hollywood and prostitution. It was her original idea that helped stimulate this. Unfortunately, also many years later, we're taking action. But Virginia Sharon, who you all know in the works in the central part of Hollywood. Thank you, members, very much. Thank you, community, very, very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lott. Chair recognizes Councilmember Gruhl, followed by Councilmember Burnson and Councilmember Reyes.
Yeah, you do.
I just want to thank the mayor for coming down here and spending time in our city, and this is an important issue. I used to have on Sepulveda, Tom, you remember, which is not in my district anymore after redistricting, but a huge problem with prostitution, and it's still there. And we've tried everything you can imagine. We're trying to work with apartment owners who are allowing the women to rent those apartments where the Johns are coming in and trying to work with them. And as you've indicated, it's really, we should not be always going after the women, but also after the Johns. And I think this is critically important. Tom, you've gotten a lot of good press on this in the last few days, which is a good thing because the message is getting out there that we are serious about this. And you and I talked about drag racing and the importance as well, and we're working with the city attorney when they're drag racing down our streets to also take those cars away so we can stop the potential of death in those communities. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to send that clear message to say we mean business in the city of Los Angeles. And so I want to acknowledge your leadership and the mayor and the chief of police from Oakland for spending time here. I think the more that we can work with other cities and learn from other cities, the better we can function. And there's lots of good ideas out there. We just have to steal them every now and then and work with them and share them. That's right, not steal them, share them. There you go. Anyways, and also want to acknowledge the community members that came out. This does really bring down the quality of life when you have a prostitution problem. So thank you to the police department and others who have made this a reality, and we'll be back here with the items on street racing in our neighborhoods as well. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilmember Burnson.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank the governor for coming down today to help us with this, and the police chief. I think this is a great step in the right direction. This is one way of dealing with a very serious problem. I'm glad to see that I think this is going to sail right through this council today. Several years ago, I introduced a motion to publish the names of the Johns and to show them on our television channel 35. Guess what? I didn't have support from the council, the city attorney's office that time. In the spirit of that, I'm going to reintroduce that motion, and I'll bring it in right after the first of the year, and I think that'll be step 2. But I think this is going to hit them where they're in the pocketbook, where it hurts, and I think it's going to be a real deterrent to it. And I'd like to, I'm probably not going to talk again today, so I want to wish all of you a happy Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. And again, thanks for coming down from Oakland. I understand you're doing a great job there.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. This will give us the right tools to deal with situations like we have on Olympic Boulevard and Pico. After the Laker games, everybody streams out, and we have this international ring of prostitutes coming from Las Vegas, San Francisco. They camp out along these major boulevards. But last month, we had reporters on this story. And what they showed on TV is that the vehicles themselves became basically rolling motels. And people would park their cars in front of liquor stores and other places to conduct that business. So this is going to cut to the heart of that. And for that, I want to thank you, Governor, for your great work. Thank Tom LaBonge for bringing this forward. And we need as many tools as we can to deal with these challenges that we have. So we'll be forever grateful. Thank you.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, Governor, Mayor, Captain, Commander, soon to be, I think, maybe, if you do a good job there. Sergeant Hamilton. Chief, I was a member of the police department for 33 years, and I dealt with this in Hollywood for many, many years. And I know the Governor, your support for the LAPD and the Police Protective League over the years, and your commitment to public safety. I was in your city recently, and it's made a dramatic transformation for the positive from what it used to be, and I commend you for that. And I sincerely appreciate, thank you, I sincerely appreciate you coming down here and expressing the support. I know that these go through challenges. I know that it withstood the challenge of court. I know it's been effective, and to turn what was negative into a very positive environment in Oakland. So, Chief, congratulations for having that. Oftentimes people think the big cities come up with all the answers, and while we're a big city, we don't have all the answers, and we rely upon our partners in the state of California to help us come up with those solutions. So, Mayor, appreciate it. Chief, appreciate it. And Captain Downey, now you got more tools, more resources, and you get a little more manpower there, people power in Hollywood Division, and we'll turn Hollywood the way we want it to turn into a very, very positive environment. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, point of personal privilege before my time begins, and you hold it so I can respond to the governor. The governor spoke of being elected here as a Board of Junior College Trustees member, and I just want to remind the governor, share with my friends and colleagues that I was president of the CDC. His name is Brian. We put him on the top of the ballot. He got the most votes because you vote for the one at the top at the time. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. And then he says, I want to be a United States Senator running against Tunney and Brian. I said, you can't do that. You want to be governor? We'll make you governor. And he's sitting right there. And we said, you run for Secretary of State, and you'll be the leading Democrat. You'll be the only one elected against Flournoy. There were 2 Flournoys. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so he said, I don't want to be that. Finally, he made up his mind to run for Secretary of State. And the rest is history. We endorsed him for governor. No, we got not enough votes, but we said you
didn't get enough votes. That's
yeah,
right.
but you know, your guys were there, and we told you it happened. And the rest is history. Congratulations, Governor.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, members, I'm looking at this ordinance, and there are some potential flaws. You give a lot of discretion to the officer, which is here, and we know what happened at Rampart. This is fine. If this could apply fairly and equally without discretion being abused by the officer, that would be fine. If there's some flaws here, we should revisit it. We'll pass it symbolically today, but revisit it for the purpose of cleaning it up. For an example, the officer can use his discretion in the following instances. If the driving of the vehicle is used as a company vehicle, let it go. If, in the case where the registered owner of the vehicle relinquished car to be parked, let it go. Where the vehicle can be used to accomplish business purposes, let it go. That's his discretion. But it may not be the case. But then they go on to say that the registered or legally owned would be allowed a hearing to determine impounded validity. But they can keep it up to 30 days. In 30 days, you got to pay a cost, even if you're innocent and you're the owner of the vehicle, you got to pay the impound fees, which could be exorbitant. You also talk about for storage. Here it says, if the vehicle was used for pimping, et cetera, the cost of the court. I would say that in every case, when a vehicle is impounded, the city attorney should make the recommendation to the court that this vehicle is to be impounded and also to be sold. And let the court make that decision. Because I can see right now we can have a Rampart situation on Sunset Boulevard or Hollywood Boulevard where that could be a real problem. I think that it also says in number 6, people claiming interest in the vehicle will have 30-day calendar days from the date of the first publication of notice of seizure. Now, they may not see that notice publication. So I would say this ordinance should require that the city attorney or others involved, our designee, access the owner of the vehicle through DMV, notify the owner that the vehicle has been impounded, so they have a right before it's sold to say of their interest and also of their innocence. Other than that, Mr. President, members, it could be good, but there are flaws associated with it. I think the civil rights of innocent people could be violated. We don't talk about innocent people, not guilty people. In the case where a vehicle is being impounded, we should have some assurance that the law has been violated and that those parties who are violating the law should be arrested. Then it carries some weight. Just to say you're going to impound the vehicle, do not arrest the parties of interest. You're pleading another cloud and giving a power to the officer that it may not be entitled to, where they use discretion. I can see right now where you have a minority driving down Sunset Boulevard, where a police officer says, I don't like that guy in that nice fancy car, or the wheels are too high, or the wheels are too low. That car could be impounded and the allegation could be.
Mr. Holden?
Could I respond
Please.
to Councilmember Holden's comments? I don't believe there is that kind of discretion written into the ordinance. We contemplate this ordinance being enforced by trick task forces. So in other words, there would be a lot of people present at the time that the cars are seized, and there will be guidelines in place to ensure that individuals are arrested and only then are the vehicles seized. So there won't be all this discretion to seize vehicles. If you see one going down the street and you don't like the way the driver looks, you can seize the vehicle. That's not the way this ordinance is going to work. And also, as far as the notice provisions, the ordinance does provide that the police are required to look at DMV records to ascertain who the legal owner of the vehicle is and to provide them notice. The ordinance also provides that the city attorney will also give notice before any forfeiture takes place. Publication will only be used when the owner of the vehicle cannot be ascertained through other sources. So that is a last resort. Publication is always a last resort. It's never the first way that we try to contact an owner. So there are various safeguards built into the ordinance, and I don't think it's going to be susceptible to the type of enforcement that Councilmember Holden is afraid of.
I'd like to add a comment, too. You know, I think the city attorney has well stated the protections. And of course, people in these situations often try to talk their way out of their situation. So you have to maintain the authority to really make this program work. In Oakland, only 1% of the vehicles were found to have been taken with some reasonable excuse to then give it back, and in the 1% of the cases, the city actually paid the fees, and there was no cost whatsoever. So this is, remember, these are people who picked up their videos, they know these people are, we haven't lost a case because somebody wasn't guilty. Now, if somebody lends their car to somebody, or there might be a case, and then the authorities listen to it, and if they can make a good enough case, you can always give it back to them. But most of the time, that isn't true. And you don't want to open up the door to fast-talking people who try to avoid the consequences.
Mr. Holden for a second time.
Oh, nice to hear your explanation, Governor. And it's good to hear from the city attorney that these loopholes are closed. But I think we should not err at all, not 1% where the city pays the fees. Do we have a provision in this ordinance that if the city is determined to be wrong in a case like this, they're going to pay the fees for storage? In this particular, I'm not talking about in Oakland, I'm talking about right here, the one we're moving on today.
Well, he's asking now if there's a provision.
Are you saying that if a court finds that the seizure was not warranted?
Correct. The governor talked about the city paying the fees when they inadvertently or erred in impounding or seizing a vehicle.
I want to jump in and make a point. No case has ever gone to a judge and reversed what the city did. The police chief and his assistants have listened to people, and if they made a good case, then they settled. They helped them. But that's only 1% of the cases, and no cases ever go into court. So it sounds like, this is not any kind of an oppressive measure of government authority.
And what you're saying, Governor, unless the evidence is conclusive, your police chief signs off and say, release this vehicle, it was improperly impounded. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And all I'm saying is there could be some cases like that. I mean, no one is perfect. And if they exercise discretion and you abuse their discretion and the power of the law, color of law, then of course you return that and pay for the impounding fee. Is that not correct? Yes or no?
Yes, they do.
You pay the
But it's
impounding
very
fee.
rare. You're talking about a
I understand that,
1%
Governor.
chance.
But do we have a provision for that in this ordinance, ma'am?
The city attorney would have discretion to waive the impound and storage fees if we felt that the seizure was unwarranted.
Right. Well, okay, in closing, I would say that I served with you when you were governor and I was a senator. And I know you were associated identified as a civil libertarian.
Yeah.
And
I was.
Until you saw the light.
Until I became mayor.
So now you're middle of the road. In any case, if this matter were before us in Sacramento, I've been convinced by your past performance that you would not have signed this, you would not let it go into law without your signature, unless all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, because you stood up on the side of the protecting people, civil liberties, and their rights. I'm not saying you've changed. I'm saying that's what I know you to have been, to have done.
But you remember, Nate, I was the governor who signed the first mandatory prison sentence laws, including the famous use a gun, go to prison law.
Okay, and I voted for that, and Duke Majan was the author. But wait, Duke Majan was the author. You fought, you weren't out there, you were not the advocate for that, number one. And number two, when we had so much support in the Senate and the Assembly, you said you would be overridden if you had vetoed it. You signed it.
No, I signed that bill.
Okay.
Without all that narrative you just gave.
I understand, Governor. In any case, I'm going to vote for this, but I can tell you this, that once it's, don't use your best discretion, but discretion should not be a factor to be considered. The law should be so clearly written, there will be no doubt what a guilt or innocence when it's before the court. And nobody's rights, liberties should be violated. I mean, we can't rush to judgment because it's a popular issue, and then you begin to take away people's rights. We know that can happen from Rampart. We know that can happen because we got a $2 million settlement before us today that we recommended that be paid because some officer violated some person's right, and $2 million yesterday, and the day before that, another $1.5 million. And the list goes on because of officers crossed the line and their conduct it was unacceptable. So, come on.
Mr. Holden. Other members of the council wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, this is a second reading and second consideration of this item. Madam Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Labange. Thank you, Governor Brown. This matter is going forthwith.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Labange.
thank you for sending it forthwith. And thank Mayor Brown and Chief Ward. Thank you for coming. Chief Ward, I got it right now. Good. Up for the ranks. Thank all your members, too. Thank Janice Hahn.
Oh, now Mr. Holden gives him a hug. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next one, Mr. President, item number 17, called special inasmuch as there are two reports on the file. Motion is required to adopt one of the reports. The recommendations do differ.
Ms. Gruhl.
Yes, I don't see Mr. Pacheco, but the item is in his district, and I talked to him, and we should adopt the EDE committee report.
Okay, is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Is there a second? Mr. Reyes seconds.
Mr. Reyes, you want to second that?
Other members wishing to be heard? On item 17, the EDE report has been moved. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, please close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
The EDE report is adopted. The others are received and filed. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 20, called special by Councilmember Labange.
Mr. Labange, item 20.
Yeah, Mr. President, I pass.
Okay, item 20 now before us. We do have a couple of speaker cards on item 20. And as a reminder, the city attorney has asked us to reopen the public hearing in council, but it shall be a brief public hearing. Not quite that short, Mr. Brinson. Members of the council, members of the public, let's try to keep the public hearing down to about 5 minutes. We have 4 speaker cards, and as I recall, several of you have spoken at the committee level also. We had this heard in Education Neighborhoods Committee earlier this week. So I will ask that you keep your comments brief and focused and specific to the matter before us. Let me call forward at this time Alexia Teran, Ann Walnum, John Edwards, and Denise Weinstock. If you could line up behind the podium and keep your comments to about a minute or so. We were able to hear lengthy comments at committee just a few days ago. Go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for this time. My name is Alexia Teran. I live in Cypress Park. I'm a homeowner for 38 years. What is democracy and what is America? People all over the world come to America because they believe that this country will give them a fair chance. You may ask yourself, why am I here? It's to let you know that City Council elected officials, Dunn Department of Empowerment, and Bonk, Board of Neighborhood Commissioners, took away the rights of 1,400 people in Cypress Park to decide for themselves which neighborhood council they should be a part of. They took away our right to self-determination, that which is in the plan. Grassroots. All of the 6 communities are grassroots. The majority of us are people who have lived there from birth to 50 years. We are grassroots. We know the community. How can you say that people who have barely moved into the area decide for the rest of us? This is not grassroots, surely not democracy. Just now, the Councilman Nate Holden said, no person's rights should be violated. So ours were violated, and he stressed the point. There are a couple of things in the letters that I took down to City Council, one to President Padilla and one to City Attorney Delgadillo. The one to Delgadillo mentions that there was a Ralph M. Brown Act violation, and I won't take the time, but you know which one that is. Also, the one to President Padilla was by removing one entirety community, in this case Cypress Park and part of another, from the 6th Community Arroyo Seco Neighborhood Council, ASNC, after October 2nd, 2002, the BONC effectively decertified a large and integral portion of a fully certified and completely compliant neighborhood council in violation of the plans for a citywide system of neighborhood council, Article 4, Section 5. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Walden?
You are denying the rights of a community that has suffered intimidation for decades. The people on this chart organized early on with the Arroyo Seco Neighborhood Council in hopes of partnering with a wider population to effect more positive programs in the Cypress Park community. They have lived in Cypress Park for an average of 33 and a half years. I've lived as their neighbor in Mount Washington and participated in Cypress Park activities. I've been on Mount Washington for 49 years. The challenge to the inclusion of Cypress Park in Arroyo Seco Neighborhood Council mobilized me. We did petitions, 1,400 signatures in over 8 weeks, door to door at businesses, churches, and markets. I stated to each signature what I knew to be true. We had worked for 3 years, not 3 months, so the two people behind me are going to be able to say. The 3 leaders of the other group did not even live in Cypress Park. Dunn rejected our petitions. I was further astounded when Dunn's written description of Cypress Park omitted half the business district. Furthermore, most of the recent information packets for the commissioners delivered to Dunn, and in May, 4,000 notification newsletters to our stakeholders were not all delivered. What's being condoned is that it's okay to rip down the competition's meeting notices not once but twice in 2 days, then send an email calling it a secret meeting. 75 people came anyhow.
Thank you, ma'am. We have John Edwards and Denise Weinstock.
Thank you very much. Just briefly, I think the community of Cypress Park wish to self-determine. It's a very small community, and it's far too small to have divisions, so I hope we can all work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Weinstock.
Hi, I'm Denise Weinstock. I live in Mount Washington. I'm an Arroyo Seco stakeholder, and I worked on their bylaws committee. I support Cypress Park's certification. They did a great grassroots campaign, gained the support of their community, and as an Arroyo Seco stakeholder, I've been remiss to see how the division, the willingness of Arroyo Seco to fight over another community's wish to be independent. I think that they should respect their neighbors, allow them to have their own neighborhood council, and I support the Education and Neighborhood Committee's recommendation to council to allow them to continue and move forward for their communities' betterment. Thanks.
Thank you very much. This once again concludes public comment on this item. Are the members wishing to be heard? Let's begin with the chair of the committee, Councilmember Hahn, and members, I will draw your attention to the committee report agendized for your consideration today. Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. This certainly was a tough issue, and this is an issue we may see more of in the future. However, I must say that since the first neighborhood council was certified over a year ago on December 11th, we've had about 58 neighborhood councils that have been certified with actually very few major boundary disputes. This is one of those. And I believe that this is an issue that was about two very distinct communities that felt very passionately about neighborhood councils, felt very passionately about the ideal of self-determination, felt very passionately about the process, and you know, in my opinion, neither one was wrong, neither one violated any part of the process, but in this instance, I believe that we should uphold the decision of the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. I believe that we have given the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners this mission to go forward and weigh all the specifics of a case, be very intimately involved in the emergence of neighborhood councils and the drawing of boundaries and the issues that come forth from those meetings and those disagreements and those issues. I believe the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners is the entity that is most intimately involved with this particular issue, and in that light, I would ask that we uphold their decision in this process. But I will say that I think what has come to light from this issue is the process. And it was my sense in the committee after listening to this that we need to do a better job in the process. And I have asked for the Dunn staff, I have asked for the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners to look at the process, to look at what determines a rejection of an application or an acceptance of an application, what determines when an appeal can be made, what role does the council really have in this appeal process, and to look again at the idea of boundaries. And while this is a growth process for all of us. This is uncharted process for all of us. This is sort of a revolution that is sweeping across Los Angeles. There have been no rules before this, and Nick and Dennis and I, when we were on the City Charter Commission, we purposely made the whole 900 section of the City Charter vague because we felt very strongly that one size does not fit all for all neighborhood councils, which is why we've been reluctant to come back with hard and fast rules on what determines boundaries, what determines a neighborhood council. But we have left a lot of that up to the Citizen Commission of the Board of Neighborhood Commission to make those decisions. But I do believe we should look more at the process, and I just want to always take this opportunity to say boundaries are important in terms of self-determination, but ultimately when we move down the path of involving neighborhoods and communities into the decisions that we make down here at City Hall, boundaries will become less important. And there's nothing to say that we will not, all of us, listen to the voice as much of a group of people who are across the street from another neighborhood council, and that issue is in that boundary that they will not be able to weigh in. I think someday San Pedro neighborhood councils will be weighing in on issues in the valley and vice versa, because I think our city is going to be smaller as we go forward because we will be more connected, and I think that's how neighborhood councils will begin networking and lobbying with all of us. So I would ask that we uphold the decision of the Neighborhood Commission at this point. This is a tough issue. This is really tough, but I want to make this statement and this precedent that we don't get involved in every single boundary dispute that's going to come our way, and that we really do support our Neighborhood Commission in the decisions that they make.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you. I'd like to second a lot of things that Ms. Hahn has said, but I'd also like to ask that we move forward and vote.
Call for the question.
Call for the question.
Okay, you are the final speaker on the queue. Question has been called. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Committee report is approved. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 25, called special by Council Member Pacheco.
Mr. Pacheco, item 25.
I'd like to, Mr. President, colleagues, amend the Housing and Community Development Report, instruction number 5, with substitute language. I'd like to move that the following language be inserted in place of what's currently there. If cross default becomes legally unacceptable to senior lenders, other appropriate means of assessing performance will be obtained from developers. The second point would be that the LA Housing Department should report to the Housing and Community Development Committee within 60 days after meeting with the project senior lenders on the status of the above mentioned change. I'd like to move those amendments, Mr. President.
Okay. Is there a second to the verbal amendment? Do I hear a second? Mr. Zion seconds. Anybody wishing to be heard at this point? Without objection, members, then let's consider the matter as amended. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
25 as amended is approved. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 31, called special by Councilmember Misikowski, and she is not here.
Mr. Zine.
She's not here, but I'm
She's not
standing
here.
for her.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, request that on item number 31, we move to amend the recommendations in paragraph 2 of the committee and the report to clarify the actions taken by the committee. So we want to approve the resolution authority for the city attorney to hire 2 deputy city attorneys to provide eminent domain and other real estate acquisition services related to propositions F and Q, and exempt these positions from the cap on authorized positions in the city attorney's office, and request the city attorney to report back to the proposition F and Q oversight committees and the public safety committee relative to filling these positions instead of hiring outside counsel. That would be the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, then without objection, we'll consider the matter as amended. Please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 50 was called special also by Councilmember Misikowski.
Ms. Gruhl.
Yes, I think I called 50 special. I think she called 64. But this is an item which we have discussed previously relative to the importance of making sure that our federal and state agencies allow some flexibility or understanding that we have diverse populations here, that we have areas of poverty unfortunately throughout the city of Los Angeles. And we are oftentimes, for lack of a better word, dinged because we don't have it concentrated in one area. And we want to make sure that whether it is state legislation, whether it is information we're getting from the State Franchise Tax Board, that we are allowed to be able to compete for grants, be able to ensure that hopefully we have federal legislation that allows for non-contiguous areas to be considered when we're applying for federal funds, particularly under the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and so that we can compete and get our fair share in the city of Los Angeles for these federal programs that serve some of our lowest income areas in the city of Los Angeles. So I really wanted to just highlight for all of you that not only should we do this with HUD, and I know the CLA is looking at other areas in the federal government, state government, to make sure that any regulations that come out or legislation that's being considered at these levels of government, that the unique nature of the city of Los Angeles and its geographic diversity and population diversity is considered so we can compete effectively with the other cities in this country. So I just would like to support what we're doing today and encourage other departments in the CLA to work together for other applications we may have. And thank you. I know, Mr. President, you have taken a leadership role in this issue as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gruhl. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 62, called special by Councilmember Reyes.
Item 62 now before us.
I believe Councilmember Reyes' staff is requesting that that be held on the desk for his arrival or his return.
Okay, let's hold 62 on the desk and proceed to the next item.
Item number 63 was called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden. May I ask you to press your button, please?
Ms. Misikowski is not here, because I wanted to know whether or not the intent to Mr. Weiss's motion is included in the ordinance as it was amended. Is that
There
yes
is
or
a
no?
new ordinance.
It is in the ordinance, which therefore means that if it's appeal due to the fact that it's not equal, they don't have equal protection in the law, then of course it'll revert back and everybody will pay. Is that correct? You don't know. All right. Anyone else want to comment on this? I just want to make sure how it's going to work.
Good morning, Judith Reel, Deputy City Attorney. Our opinion is that the distinction would not violate the Equal Protection Clause, that there is, in fact, a rational basis for the distinction.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
I thought you would be.
Yesterday you were not saying that.
Yes, we did. We just weren't quite as firm in our belief. But having considered it overnight, we now believe that we were in fact correct.
So those special circumstances have been specified, is that correct?
A rational basis can be articulated, has been articulated. The council can decide that the gun dealers and firearm vendors and salespersons are to be fully regulated and are to pay for the cost of regulation, and you may take the time to consider whether or not all the other businesses should also be fully regulated and pay the full cost of that regulation.
Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for your spirit of cooperation.
Other members wishing to be heard on item 63? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved.
And the order is over.
Carries over for a second reading. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 64 was called special, and there is a new ordinance on the desk before the council.
Item 64 is now before us. I believe called special by Ms. Misikowski, who has left. Do we know if we expect her back today?
I believe Ms. Skrull has a motion to make on this.
Ms. Skrull?
Just not Cindy Misikowski, but almost close to Cindy Misikowski. How's that sound? I was going to call this item special as well. So just want to make two comments. One is the fact that we have talked a lot about businesses in the city of Los Angeles and making sure that we are more business friendly, and wanted to stand up and support the ordinance that is before you today. It does two things. One, it continues for an additional 2 years our current exemption, business tax exemption for new businesses with less than $500,000 in the city of Los Angeles and gross receipts. Secondly, it allows businesses that have been in LA County to come into the city of Los Angeles and receive that same benefit. The amendment that Ms. Misikowski wanted us to add, which I will read, which would move the ordinance on the city clerk's desk, which changes the effective date of the business tax exemption for businesses relocating into the city of Los Angeles to February 1st of 2003. The other part of this ordinance, which would continue the existing exemption for businesses that are new to the city of Los Angeles, would be seamless, and so there would be no gap at all at that period. So the new program would start February 1st, and the existing one would continue as it currently is. So I would like to ask my colleagues in our effort to be business-friendly to support these ordinances that are before us today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I'm only persuaded by the argument that we want to demonstrate that we are, in fact, business-friendly. But we just had a former governor here a moment ago, and he was the one who advocated what is known as the unitary tax. Unitary tax is defined as the tax where a company doing business outside the state of California and also doing business in the state of California, and they were deriving a tax break and making the money here, and because the tax base was different in the state from which they were capitalized and their headquarters, and doing business there. I can envision a company doing in excess of, and may have defined, I don't know what the definition of a small business at this point in time, I know 500,000, but that's what they're going to say if they're outside of the city of Los Angeles. Maybe another state, maybe another part of the county. And they will allege or present an argument that it's a small business unless and until the gross receipts are $500,000. And yet, the parent headquarters of that particular company is earning in excess of the $500,000. I think you have to have some protection in there, and I hope it's included in this ordinance or the amendment.
Answer that question for us.
Dagger, Deputy City Attorney. As I understand your question, you want to exclude companies whose total gross receipts, if you include the parent and the subsidiary, exceed $500,000, but those are separate taxable entities. We would only look at each separate corporation. Our business taxes for each separate
yeah, I understand that.
A subsidiary. So if a subsidiary,
put the mic in front of you. I don't hear what you're saying.
If a subsidiary has less than $500,000 in taxable gross receipts to the city, then it would be excluded.
So the subsidiary is right here in the city of Los Angeles, and the parent company is someplace else. And the parent company may be gross receipts may be well in excess of the $500,000. And when you start a new company, yes, it's less than that. And that was the purpose for the unitary tax, so there would not be any flaws. Would not be any escape hatches for those who wanted to benefit from this kind of a legislation.
Well, the parent company would be taxed if it does its own business in the city of Los Angeles and it exceeds $500,000.
Where the parent company, which is located at another location, and the subsidiary here in the city of Los Angeles combine?
No, you would not combine them. Not under the current ordinance. You look at each individual taxpayer stands on its own, and each is taxed on its own, each is potentially subject to taxation on its own, and we,
So if the unitary tax were in place, this would be a method to circumvent it? Now you don't know what it is?
I have not reviewed any unitary tax policy, no.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Mr. Zine.
Mr. President, it's not on this item, and I pushed my button by mistake. I was so excited to see Councilmember Misakowski return, knowing we have 12 members and we can get some of those ordinances pushed out today.
Good call,
Anyway,
Mr. Zine.
it was excited and I pushed the button by mistake, but we'll bring that back later. No questions on this matter. Thank you.
Let's wrap up this item then. Seeing no other members wishing to be heard, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. And while we do have 12 members, members, do we wish to act and reconsider the various ordinances on today's agenda? Seeing no objection, Madam Clerk, which items are those?
That's item number 2, item 3, item 37, and 63.
Open the roll.
Okay, let's open the roll on reconsideration. Let's close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, all ordinances are now back before us. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All those ordinances, seeing a 12-vote unanimous result, are approved and going forthwith. Ms. Perry.
Do I need to, if it's approved, I don't need to talk? Do you want me to speak separately on my item?
Well,
Okay,
your
okay,
item is
that's
a
fine.
separate
Okay.
item.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, this is a request for reconsideration on item 19 from Wednesday, which was the adaptive reuse ordinance dealing with the expansion of the ordinance to other areas of the city. And city attorney has advised us that the motion was, the revisions of Wednesday were made at the last minute and have some contradictions and needed to be clarified. The clarifying language has been proposed in today's motion. It's a substitute motion, and I just would ask my colleagues adopt this unanimously.
Okay, there's a motion for reconsideration of an item from Wednesday's agenda. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that is now back before us. Ms. Perry has requested a change in the language. Other members wishing to be heard on this item?
Just vote.
Yes, vote.
Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That, as amended, is approved. Mr. Pacheco, did you wish to be recognized?
Mr. President, colleagues, I'd like to move to reconsider an item that was on Wednesday's agenda for the Board of Public Works, contract 101690. I've already spoken with the clerk about this. The controller instructions were incorrect, and I need to get the correct ones put on the record and adopted today. So I'd like to move to reconsider that item.
Madam Clerk, do we have the item number from Wednesday's agenda?
I have the council file number. It's 022735, and it was a motion with the incorrect account numbers on it.
Okay, then let's open the roll on reconsideration, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That matter is back before us now. Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. President, colleagues, I'd like to substitute the current language in the file with the one I'm going to read right now, which is authorize the controller to initiate the early reversion of $75,000 for graffiti removal from fiscal year 2001-2002, General Fund 100, Board of Public Works, Department 74, to the Reserve Fund. The second instruction is then reappropriate $75,000 from the reserve fund to the unappropriate balance, fund number 100-58, and therefrom to Fund 100, Department 74, Contractual Services Account 3040 of fiscal year 2002-2003. Make that amendment, move that amendment, Your Honor. Mr. President.
Your Honor, sounds good. Is there any objection to that amendment? Seeing none, let's consider the matter as amended. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. And again, members, all matters approved by the council today are going forthwith. Next item, please.
Mr. President, item number 62 is still on the desk.
Mr. Reyes, item 62.
Thank you, Council President. It's a very technical changes to this motion, and I ask for your support. Just clarifies some of the facts that should have been presented in the original motion.
Okay, any other speakers on item 62? Seeing none, any objection to the change in language? Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. I believe that is all the regular meeting agenda items.
Yes, Mr. President, there are several specials. I don't know if you want to do those first or recess and go into the back into the special meeting.
Let's do special items before closed session.
Okay, there is a special on the desk, Special 2. It's a motion presented by Councilmember Holden and seconded by Councilmember Hahn, and the city attorney will explain the need to make the finding.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. The necessary map in this matter did not reach the clerk's office in time for the matter to be placed on today's agenda. The lease of a tenant important to the community expires December 31st, 2002. Immediate action is required to approve the map to renew the lease so the tenant does not leave this blighted area. There must first be a finding that there is a need to take immediate action on this matter and that the need for the action came to the attention of the City Council subsequent to the posting of today's agenda.
Members wishing to be heard on the findings? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the findings. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Okay, special one now before us. Members wishing to be heard on the motion itself? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on special 1. Please, special 2. Roll is open. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved.
And
Next
the
item.
Special 3 is motion by Councilmember Councilmember Misakowski, seconded by Councilmember Pacheco.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. On December 18th, Michael Allen Traynor, T-R-E-A-N-O-R, was murdered. The Los Angeles Police Department is requesting the public's help in solving this crime and that this reward be offered. The council first must make a finding that there's an immediate need to act on this matter, and the need for action came to the attention of the council subsequent to the posting of the agenda for today's meeting.
Members wishing to be heard on the findings? Seeing none, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Special 3 now before us. Members wishing to be heard on the motion? Ms. Misakowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a reward motion, as the city attorney indicated. It was a murder that was committed December 18th, just 2 nights ago, on Electric, just behind Joe's Restaurant on Abbott Kinney. Joe's Restaurant is a very popular restaurant. This happened, Abbott Kinney is a popular street where a lot of activity occurs, particularly with the restaurants at the closing hour. So police are very interested if anyone can come forward with any information on this particular homicide. This person is Michael Allen Traynor, who was killed. He is an assistant manager there at the restaurant, and he had finished his work shift and was walking to the car parked appropriately behind the restaurant. And so, as I said, the Pacific Division Police Department, police area is very, very interested in anyone who can come forward with information to help solve this.
Thank you, Ms. Misakowski. Other members on this item? Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Special 4, motion presented by Council President Padilla and seconded by Councilmember Gruhl, and the city attorney will explain the need for the findings.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. On December 16th, the Proposition K Steering Committee meeting did not occur. The Prop K grant for the San Fernando Valley Boys and Girls Club expires December 31st, 2002.
Thus, the council must first find that there is a need to take immediate action on this matter and that the need for action came to the attention of the City Council subsequent to the posting of the agenda for today's council meeting, and that and then the council must find that the supplemental agreement must be extended.
Any members on the findings? Seeing none, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Special 4 now before us. Members on the motion itself. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, do you wish to recess and go into the special meeting?
If that's all these special items, then yes, let's recess. Again, the regular agenda. Do we have another special before us?
I believe there is, however, the clerk doesn't have a copy of it. It's special
Okay.
5.
Well, let's take that back up after the special meeting agenda. Members, we're going to recess the regular meeting agenda and go back into the special meeting. Madam Clerk, I believe we have 2 items.
Yes, Mr. President. Item number 3 on the special meeting, there was a card and also the closed session.
Item 3 now before us from the special meeting agenda. The council calls forward Mr. Jim McQuiston.
Jim McQuiston, East Hollywood Community Association. This is rather a technical thing caused by the state legislature and the fact that there are no conflict of interest codes currently in the various neighborhood councils, which puts them in a very uncomfortable position. And I urge that this be approved. However, I do want to say that because the way the old city council, not this one, got up this neighborhood council plan, changed it after the bonk worked on it so hard, it's become like the Internal Revenue Code. It gets worse and worse as we go along. And sooner or later, we're going to have to figure out another way of attacking this because it's just going to get worse. It's not going to get better, regardless of what we do, unless we start over.
Thank you. This concludes public comment on item 3 of our special agenda. Members wishing to be heard on this item. Item 3 of the special agenda. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, is the closed session, which is item number 7 on the special meeting agenda.
Okay, can we take a regular meeting agenda public comment before going into closed session?
Yes, but you need to recess this meeting and go back into the regular meeting and then...
For formality's sake, then, let us recess the special meeting agenda, return to the regular meeting, and proceed to take public comment for today. The council calls forward Melrose Larry Green.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. I don't want to sound like Scrooge or the Grinch that stole Christmas, but I read in today's paper that the budget deficit, I hope you're sitting down when you hear this, folks, the state budget deficit in California is projected at $34.8 billion, not million, billion dollars. That's capital B like boy. So, to quote my brother, Richard Greenblatt, great PhD from MIT, real problems demand real solutions. Now, I have no problem with your raises. I think you deserve the raises, and they're a small pittance. $150 million over 3 years is immaterial. I think that a good workforce deserves to be well compensated, and you do work hard. But I think the people of the city of LA, starting with myself, should come to meetings and should demand that certain things be done. Now, I'm glad you passed this ordinance today with the confiscating the cars for Johns of prostitutes, but I read the
Let me ask you to take a quick pause. Guards,
yes.
I need some quick action here. We have a couple members who have left chambers unannounced.
We don't want to
We
lose
need
a
to
quorum.
bring folks back to restore a quorum.
Gotta have a
and
minute.
to handle business.
Minion's a Jewish term.
Hold on.
10 people, sorry.
We'll get back to you. I just need our
that
guards
was
to
for
visit
Gail,
members'
by the way.
offices and hallways and the parking garage if necessary.
Go out to the garage.
Larry, back to you.
Go on Melrose and Highland, Mr. President, wherever you want. But my point I wanted to make is that I read in the LA Times and the New York Times, according to the Harvard University School of Public Health, over 2,600 deaths were caused in the last year by people talking on the cell phones while they're driving. I'll repeat that. 2,600 deaths caused in the past year by people talking on the cell phone while they're driving, and over 500,000 accidents were caused. So I think the city of LA should make it illegal, just like they did in the city of New York, the state of New York, in fact, make it illegal to have anything but hands-free on the cell phones when you're driving. That's what I'd like to see to do. Happy New Year. Go to the banks, use your raise as well. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. You didn't get a raise? Okay, well, you should get a raise, by the way, City Council. Okay, thank you, I'm done. And go Lakers, by the way. Everybody band behind the Lakers at this point in time. True Laker fans, and I know I'm an old Brooklyn Dodger fan before you were born, Alex, get behind the Lakers. To quote Yogi Berra, it ain't over till it's over, and tonight's Philadelphia. That's what I'm worried about. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for the record, we have restored a quorum. We're now back up to 11 members. This concludes public comment for today's meeting. And let's do another balancing act here. We're going to recess again the regular agenda.
Mr. President, I'm sorry, do you wish to take up the special file?
Let's go back to the special meeting and go to closed session. Mr. Holden, don't go anywhere. We're now back to our special meeting agenda. We have a closed session item left to consider. In conformance with California law, the council will now adjourn into closed session. Guards, please clear the chambers except for council members and appropriate staff. Welcome back into open session. Madam Clerk, matter before us, please.
The settlement on item number 7 in the case of Charles Beatty Sr. versus City of LA, and that's in the amount of $1,950,000.
Please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved forthwith. Next item.
And that is all for the special meeting.
Let us now adjourn the special meeting and return to the regular meeting. Do we have any items still before us on the regular meeting agenda?
Yes, Mr. President, there is a special 5 on the desk, and that's motion by Councilmember Galanter, seconded by Councilmember Gruhl, and the city attorney will explain the need to make the findings.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. On December 6th, a low-income tenant's apartment at 14102 Gilmore Avenue was destroyed by fire. The Housing Department has determined that the tenant is eligible to receive calamity-based displaced tenant relocation assistance funds. Council must first make a finding that there is a need to take immediate action on this matter, and that the need for action came to the attention of council after the posting of the agenda for today's council meeting. If such a finding is made, the department requests that the council authorize the disbursement of such funds.
Members wishing to be heard on the findings? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Matter is now before us. Members wishing to be heard on the motion itself? On the motion, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
And the council has motions for posting and referral.
Motion shall be posted and referred.
There's an excuse on the desk. Councilmember Garcetti requests to be excused Friday, January 10th, to arrive at 10:30 for city business that meets council policy.
Mr. Garcetti shall be excused.
And that clears the desk, Mr. President.
Members, are there any announcements? This being the last council meeting of the calendar year. Any announcements other than I hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday season? To all the city of Los Angeles, let's be safe on the roads out there and take a moment to reflect back on the year 2002 and look forward to a great 2003 for the entire city, and keep in mind what's going on around the world. Mr. LaBonge.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to remind everybody and all our listeners that the DWP Light Festival in Griffith Park runs through the 26th of December, and come and enjoy it or park in the zoo parking lot. and take a walk on the bridle pail. A little muddy today, but not tomorrow. The wind's going to whip it dry. I'll also visit the Los Angeles Zoo, where I was this morning, where things look so pretty and beautiful, and enjoy the city, explore other neighborhoods in Los Angeles, visit that part that you haven't seen in a while, and enjoy.
Mr. Labange?
Oh.
Mr. Labange?
Did you say that, or did Ruth say that? I want to know. I think Ruth said that. Okay.
I understand reindeers have been spotted at the zoo.
Say it again.
I understand reindeers have been spotted at the zoo.
The reindeers are at the zoo, a special display through January, so it's a very good time to visit the Los Angeles Zoo. Thank you, and I wish everybody a happy holiday, and thank the staff personally for all the extras I make them do. Thank you.
Ms. Galanter.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind people to, when you're done with your Christmas tree, that the city would be delighted to help you recycle it. And we always find that many people just leave them out on the street, where they become, among other things, a fire hazard. So there are, on the city's webpage and through any of our offices, you can find out where to recycle the Christmas tree when you're done. You do have to take off the stand and all the decorations, including the tinsel. But if you don't put tinsel on in the first place, it's a lot easier.
Mr. Holden for an announcement.
Mr. President, members, we live in a diverse city, and immigrants come from all around the world. But we just want to reiterate that we had a little ceremony here where we had took notice of the fact that Koreans have been coming in since 1902, 100 years, centennial celebration. And coupled with that celebration, Mr. President, members, come New Year's Day, New Year's 1st, will be the first time that a Korean float, Korean American, will have a float sponsored by Koreatown and the Rose Parade. So it's worth noting that all are now being recognized, and that's good for our community, good for our city, state, and nation. Thank you, Mr. President.
And the great thing about the float, Los Angeles is the oldest entry in the Rose Parade, and that's another wonderful thing for all Angelinos and Southern California folks to enjoy in the Rose Parade in Pasadena. So that's a great.
Mr. Zine.
Yes, Mr. President, I just want to notify our viewers that many of our staff people and many of us will be working. We're not shutting the city down for this extended period of time. They're going to get a Christmas holiday off, New Year's Day off, but the city crews, the city staff, our sanitation workers, our police officers, our paramedics, they'll all be working, and I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season.
Other announcements? If not, the only other announcement is that the city will continue to run, but the council will stand in recess for the following 2 weeks. The next council meeting will be Tuesday, January 7th at 10 a.m. Adjourning motions. Ms. Galanter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two. I'd first like to ask that you join me in adjourning in memory of Rick Best. Probably most of you didn't have the opportunity to meet him, but Rick was 32 years old when he died. He was a very, very interesting and productive young man in his 32 years. He was born with a severed spine and spent his life in a wheelchair. Doesn't seem to have stopped him for a minute. And he turned up here a number of times. He was living in Sacramento. He grew up in Thousand Oaks. His parents are in Thousand Oaks. But he came down to the council a number of times to help with the bottle bill, various iterations of the bottle bills. I was fortunate enough to work with him on two motions. One was the effort ultimately successful to get the Coca-Cola Company to use recycled content in its plastic bottles. They were very determined not to do that, and it made Rick very angry, and an unusually dedicated compared to many people, but not for Rick. Instead of just getting angry, he turned it into a national campaign, and we were privileged as a city to be a part of that, and we did ultimately succeed. He worked for a number of years for Californians Against Waste, and then worked with Assemblymember Keeley, where again we joined in supporting a bill that Mr. Keeley put through to prevent the development of Ward Valley as a nuclear dump site. Rick was the staff person on that as well. He leaves his parents and his 4 older brothers, and and a whole host of friends and fans all over California. I'd also like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Arthur Edwards, who was 91 years old. He's the father of Barbara Jolly in the city attorney's office, survived by his wife, 2 daughters, and his son-in-law, and 4 grandchildren.
Other tributes? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Happy New Year.
Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned. The council will stand in recess until Tuesday, January 7th at 10 a.m.